We're here today to talk about the GSA Reverse Auction platform. So the first thing I want to ask everyone in the room with a show of hands, how many of you know what a reverse auction is? Okay. How many of you have used or know of GSA's reverse auction platform? Okay. So this is going to be a new for a lot of you. Just a little background here, GSA's reverse auction platform launched on July 1st, 2013. So we're almost 3 years old now. It was developed by GSA contracting officers for our federal partners to utilize. And it's currently managed by the National IT Commodity Program, who Teresa and I represent today. So we didn't just go out and build a platform on our own. We reached out to a number of our federal partners. You can see them listed here on the slide. We reached out to them and we asked them for their lessons learned, their best practices, so that this wasn't just simply a GSA thing. This is a federal government tool that we can all use. And so we wanted to get that input, to get that buy-in. Some of our biggest users of the platform, this is not all of our users. We have 27 federal partners that use our platform, but these are our biggest users. Navy and Army and DHS are some of our larger users of the platform. So for those of you that don't know what a reverse auction is, what is it? Well, I like to think of it as kind of like eBay. You know, in eBay, you go, you log in, a vendor has their product listed, you bid in increments until the auction closes, whoever has the highest price wins. Well, with a reverse auction, it's just simply the opposite of that. You, the buyer, post your requirement for your vendor community to place bids on. They bid in decrements until the auction closes. And then once the auction closes, you as a buyer, as a contracting officer, contract specialist, do your evaluations because you still have to do them, and you determine who is the lowest price technically acceptable and you make an award. So you don't just simply award to the lowest price just because they have a low price. So with that, how does the procurement process change? It doesn't. It's just simply a pricing tool. You still have to do market research. You still have to do evaluations. You still have to include your appropriate clauses based off the FAR, your agency supplements, and local policies and procedures. So again, it's just simply a pricing tool to help you get pricing in a robust, competitive environment. Some of the benefits to you as buyers using the platform are, there are no additional fees to use our platform as it relates to the GSA schedule program. If you use our platform and you solicit against the GSA schedule program, you're not going to be paying an additional fee. The 0.75 industrial funding fee that applies to all GSA schedule contracts, whether you're using GSA Reverse Auction, GSA Advantage, or GSA eBuy, still applies, but you will pay nothing on top of that. Now, it's a little different when we get into open market. If you use our platform to conduct an open market acquisition, you are going to pay a small fee. It's a nominal fee of 0.75. It's the same as the industrial funding fee that's on the scheduled program. And it's capped at $1,500 per line item. It interfaces with our existing tools, such as eBuy, GSA Advantage. Small business set-asides. You can set aside your solicitations, your auctions to small businesses. 91% of all awards, whether they were set aside or not, have gone to small businesses. And then, of course, it is managed by GSA. We continue to collaborate with our federal partners on our enhancements, making sure the platform is user-friendly. And to that, that's not just lip service. We do take the feedback that we're given from our federal partners, and we make improvements and enhancements to our platform. A prime example of that is a contracting officer at Rock Island came to us with a problem about he had an auction out there, and he had a couple of vendors that were going to bid on his solicitation, but they ended up not bidding because the vendors could see the prices that were out there before they even bid, and that scared them off. So we came up with a creative solution to help entice the vendors to bid so that they can see the prices, to enjoy that transparency that they had before. And our federal partners, our contracting officers and contract specialists and buyers, they can get the competition they need to make awards. So we ended up masking the bids. This solved the problem for them and solved the problem for our federal partners across the board, and as a result, our competition numbers and competition rates are up. And so before, where we were averaging a little under 3, around 2 vendors bidding on an auction, now we have an average of 4 vendors bidding per auction. So that's just an example of your feedback to us on how we can improve and make it better. We'll take questions at the end, but thank you. Some of the additional benefits for you is it complies with FAR 8.405. What does this mean? Well, it means simply that if you use our platform and you're soliciting the schedule program, and this is the only platform that can say this, when you hit finalize and submit and you send your solicitation out there, it's going to go to every contract holder under that schedule and under that SIN. Okay? They're all going to get notice, they're all going to have fair opportunity, and they're all going to see the solicitation out there. Real-time pricing is displayed. You see the bids come in as they come in. Facilitates direct communication between the vendor communities and our buyers. What does that mean? Well, that means that we're not sitting there washing the questions, receiving the questions. The solicitation doesn't say, if you have questions or you want to know more about this procurement, contact Stephen Gibson at GSA. No, it says contact you, the buyer, at whatever agency you work for. It has your phone number, your email address, and how they can get in touch with you. And they're not going to ask me their questions. They're going to ask you directly. And then you're going to respond directly through the platform, and it's going to send that information, that question and that answer, to all the other vendors on that schedule, that SIN, or whether it's open market. They're going to see it. And so everyone plays on a level playing field. No one has a leg up. Because we do display the pricing by our vendors, they can see where they stand. They don't know who their competition is, but they know what their price is. It offers a level of transparency in the procurement process that just before wasn't there. And hopefully what this does is going to cut down on the need for FOIA requests in the future so that you're not getting hammered with FOIA requests from vendors, especially in the third and fourth quarter when you've got the money pouring in and you've got to move PRs off your desk. And then you can use our level 3 spend data reports. You can download these reports. You can use them. It contains all the information based off your solicitations that you have out there. You can use these to identify trends. You can use it for historical pricing data. If you need to use the historical pricing data either to develop your requirements by using it to develop your IGE, or to use it to as a fair and reasonable determination, to use that so that you can look at it and compare the prices that you receive in our platform to those that you receive and solicitations and acquisitions that are of like nature. So the results bear out that 25% of all of our auctions are saving about 25% across the highest bid. We look at savings from a number of ways. It's the highest bid in an auction, and we look at the IGE as well. And so 25% savings against the highest bid in an auction, 8.88% savings against the IGE that you, the buyer, put into the platform. Now, 8.88% doesn't sound like a big number. It's a relatively small number, but that's good. That means that our federal partners, our buyers, are going in and they're entering in sound IGEs based off their market research. So it's good that that number is kind of low. The spend through the platform up until March 31st, 2016, $103 million has passed through the platform. $85 million have been awarded. 91% again of that, almost 92% again of that, has gone to small business. That's a savings rate of 17% and a total savings of just over $18 million to our federal partners. So how can you maximize your results? Well, know your market. Do your market research. Your market research is important, not only just to GSA Reverse Auctions or Reverse Auction in general, to any acquisition you do. So do your market research. Know what schedules and SINs, if you're using the schedule program, are applicable, because there can be more than one. Know what NICS codes and classification codes you need to use if you're doing open market. And verify your part numbers. If you go to GSA Advantage and you search a part number that you've got based off preliminary quotes that you received from your program office, they may have a vendor's part number, but it's not the manufacturer's part number. And the manufacturer's part number is going to be different than the vendor's part number. So if you do your market research and you put in the vendor's part number, you may see that there's only 1 or 2 vendors that can provide that product. So make sure you're using the manufacturer's part number so that your market research bears out everyone that can provide, not just those few that have that one part number. Select your schedules and sends, the appropriate ones. You can do this using GSA eLibrary, GSA Advantage, or GSA eBuy. They'll tell you which schedules and sends you need to use. Give auction names that are meaningful. Now, this may seem simple, and it is simple, but I don't know how many times I've seen solicitation names out there that are just numbers and letters that mean nothing. Your vendor community is going to look at it, laugh, and say on to the next one. So give your auction name something that's meaningful. If you have a requisition number, if you have an RFQ number that you want to cite, we have an alternate ID field where you can cite that. But when you're putting a name on your solicitation, give it something that speaks to the vendor community. If you're buying laptops, tell them you're buying laptops, not RFQ 1111567. That means nothing to them. Don't consolidate unrelated products. I don't know how many times we've seen people with a big list of requirements, and they have items on there that just don't go with each other. They're trying to buy a laptop, and they're trying to buy a chair. Well, that makes no sense. One vendor's going to give you a laptop, and one vendor's going to give you a chair. And now, if you really want to do a multiple award, a split award, that's your prerogative. But if you're wanting to get maximum results, don't consolidate items that just don't go together. Post your solicitations out there for at least 5 to 7 days. You have to understand that the vendor community has to go and reach out to their manufacturers and their distributors, and they have to get pricing, and then they have to turn around, figure out their margins, and then submit that back to you. So if you give them 2 days or 3 days, that may not work for them. So it's best to have solicitations posted out there for 5 to 7 days. And of course, ask GSA for assistance if you really need it. If you're lost in your market research and you need help, we will help you. If you've released your solicitation and you think that there's something wrong with it, reach out to us. We will help you. You can ask us for help, but we at the Reverse Auction platform, we also on the back end monitor your solicitations. We look at your draft auctions. We look at your live solicitations. We evaluate them. We do analysis reports on them. And then if there's something wrong with your solicitation, you probably will get a phone call or an email from us, and we will make some suggestions for you, or to you, excuse me. You don't have to use them, but we will be providing that type of service to you. We'll let you know, and we'll let you know how you can improve your solicitation. With that, if we see solicitations that are out there that aren't getting the maximum competition results that we think they should, they have no bids or one bid, we will reach out to the vendor community and just let them know that the solicitation's out there. It closes today, it closes tomorrow, whenever. And we let them know a little bit of information about it, whether it's name brand, whether it's a meter exceed. If it's a meter exceed, we tell them the salient spec. And then we ask them to go bid or tell you why they're not bidding. So what we're going to do right now is we have some demo slides. Usually we go into the live site and we show you how to use the platform. We don't just sit here and tell you about it. We actually show you how to use it. And so unfortunately, all we can do for you today is just go through the slide deck. But if you want to receive additional training, more hands-on training, we will provide it for you. We will sit down with you. We will walk you through the platform. We have scenario-based training where we give you a scenario and you can run through the platform using the demo site, and you can run through it in a safe environment, building auctions, building solicitations, and taking it through its natural course from creation to award. So this is the landing page for the GSA Reverse Auction platform. This is the first slider that we have up here. It says Army Chess. So if you need to use the Army Chess ADMC2 IT commodity vehicle, it's there for you. It's available to you. To log into our platform, You don't need to register if you already have a GSA eBuy or GSA Advantage username and password. Simply just click on the buyer login button there and use your GSA eBuy, GSA Advantage username or password. When you get to our dashboard, you'll have a list of auctions you have out there, a list of your draft auctions, a list of your pending awards, and if there's any questions that have been submitted to you, you'll have some messages down at the bottom. So to create an auction, it's really simple, and it's really easy. Just click on the button that says Create Auction. And it takes you right to the Create Auction page. And from this page, we're going to select our type, our contract type. What is the contract type? This is whatever the acquisition vehicle is based off our market research that we're going to solicit. So if our acquisition vehicle is going to be a multiple award schedule acquisition, we'll click on the drop-down box and we'll choose the multiple award schedule. If it's a BPA, we'll choose a BPA. If it's the Army chest vehicle, then we'll select the multiple award contract where the Army chest vehicle is found. And we'll select the Army chest ADMC2 contract vehicle. And so by selecting this, when we get to our vendor selection, we're going to have all 8 of the Army chest ADMC2 vendors. So we'll give it an auction name, again, an auction name that's meaningful, that speaks to our vendors. We can put in that internal reference number if we need to right there. It's the alternate ID. It's an internal reference, but vendors can see it, so be mindful of that. We'll select the award type. We give you 2 options. We give you single award and multiple award. A multiple award is simply just a split award. So you can make that selection. If you're using the schedule program, you can make the selection up front. This basically just tells your vendor community what your intent is. You're telling them by selecting single award that you intend to award all line items to one vendor. If you choose multiple award, you're telling them that your intent is, based off the results of the acquisition, you can award to all to one vendor, or you can split the awards up. But because you're using a GSA vehicle for the multiple award schedule program, if on the back end the auction results bear out that a single award is not the most advantageous direction to go because of a clause in the GSA schedule contracts, you can make this determination on the back end as well. So if you choose to, you can say your intent is to make a single award, and if the results bear out that a split award's your best interest of the government, you can do so using GSA schedule vehicles. Now, if you're doing open market vehicles, if you tell them it's a single award, you're going to want to follow that all the way through unless you provide in your solicitation the clause that gives you that flexibility. So we'll choose our single award. It automatically defaults to single award, so you don't have to change it from that if you don't want to. We put in our description. Our description box here follows us throughout the auction, so when the vendors look at each line item, it's going to have that description right there for them that they can look at and they can reference. So if you have something about your solicitation that's important, that you want the vendor community to know right up front, this is a good place to put that. We'll get to our vendor selection. We'll select our socioeconomic. So if we're going to try and target a certain socioeconomic category, we can choose the category that we want to target here. We're going to leave this one as all, and we're going to select our vendors right here. And so they're all pre-selected for us. We don't have to do anything. However, if we wanted to, we can deselect here and just cherry pick the vendors that we wanted to, but we leave this selected here. So once we select our vendors, it takes us to our auction details page. This is where we actually build our line items. So to build our line items, we give our line item a line item name. So if we're buying more than one product, if we're buying a laptop and we're also buying monitors, and we want to do it on 2 separate line items, the first line item can be laptops, the second line item can be monitors, and just simply name it that. Then we'll determine whether it's a brand name or equal, or meets or exceed. If it's a brand name requirement, obviously you know you have to take your brand name JNA and attach it to the solicitation. And then we'll put in what our part number is, who our manufacturer is because it's a brand name. If this is meet or exceeds, you can put in various for the part number because there are various part numbers that will fulfill your requirement. And for manufacturer, you can do the same. You can put in various because it's a meet or exceed. There are various manufacturers out there that could fulfill your requirement again. And then we'll give it a product description. The product description box, it looks short, but it holds 255 characters. So if there's a detailed salient spec that's within 255 characters that you want to put out there so the vendors see it, for each line item, you have the ability to do so. And you can put it right there. Or you can just simply attach it as an attachment to the solicitation. And just simply write in the product description, see attachment for detailed spec sheet. We'll choose our unit of measure, the days after receipt of order, for our delivery method. If this was our service, we could choose a period of performance, but because this is a commodity, we're choosing days after receipt of order. And we're going to tell them how many days after receipt of order we expect our products to be delivered within. So 30 days or less. And then we put in our quantity. How much are we buying? What's the IGE unit price for one item? And we put that in here as our IGE unit price. And then the system will calculate your total IGE for this line item for you. Then we choose our bid decrement. Our bid decrement automatically defaults to 0.25%. Okay? But if you wanted to change it, there's 0.25%, there's 0.5%, there's 0.75%, and there's 1%, 2%, and 3%. Now, when it comes, if you want to change your decrement, be mindful of the dollar value of your solicitations. If you have a multi-million-dollar solicitation out there and you choose 1%, 2%, or 3%, that's a pretty huge decrement for them to have to come down on. So be mindful when you're choosing your decrements of not only the dollar value, but also the socioeconomic you're targeting. Because if you choose a larger decrement, you're going to be really cutting into the margins of your small business community, and they're not probably going to be able to participate. And that means if you're DOD and you don't get 3 bids or more than 1 bid, you're going to have to go out and resolicit for 30 days. So be mindful of that. We'll put in our internal funding code if we want to. If we want to track funding, we can put it in there. We don't have to. It's only internal reference again. And then we can select our shipping addresses. Now, as it relates to shipping addresses, the only shipping address that's going to be associated with your GSA Reverse Auction platform profile is going to be that one that's tied to your GSA eBuy account. Now, I know in GSA eBuy you may have 10 or 11 shipping addresses that you have in there, but those didn't carry over when your profile is migrated over from eBuy. Only the one that's associated with your profile. So you'll have to go back and add them in, but it's real simple and it's real easy to do. So just click on the Add New Shipping Address field here, and it'll give you, take you to another page and allow you to put in. You can name the address, you can put in what the address is, and then you can put in who your POC is or your receiving official is. And don't worry, the vendors do not see who the receiving official is on the other end, so you don't have to worry about vendors calling your end users and bugging them with questions that they should be asking you. So once we create our auction line items, we go to our attachments. Now, when it comes to attachments, there's a couple of things that we need to remember. When we're naming our attachments, please make sure that we keep it under 50 characters and it doesn't have any special characters in it. So if you have periods and dashes in there, you're going to want to take those out. You can use underscores, but please don't use any special characters and keep the attachment name to 50 characters or less. The other thing that we need to keep in mind is the size of our attachments. You can have 100 attachments and load them up here, and the system will take it. It'll take as many as you want. But be mindful of how big they are. If it won't accommodate for any one document that's greater than 20 megabytes in size. So if you have 99 of those documents that are 20 megabytes in size, you're good. But if that one document that you attach is 21 megabytes in size, it's not going to attach any of your attachments. And you're going to have a solicitation out there and it's going to see a C attachment, and there's not an attachment there for them to see. So be mindful of that when we're creating our attachments and uploading them. And to do that, we just click on the Add Remove Attachment button. We select the document button here, and it'll go into our computer. We'll select our document, and it'll appear right here for us. We'll close out this window and click on the Refresh Document List, and it'll populate with the documents that we've attached. And then from there, we just hit Next, and it takes us to our finalize and review screen. So this is your last chance before this solicitation goes out there for you to review this auction. And so right here at the top right, you can see a little button that says share. If you need to send this off before you finalize it to a contracting officer, a supervisor, to review before you get the okay to submit it, you can click on the share button. It'll populate with a text field. You can put in the recipient's email address, type in a little comment for them, hit submit, and it's going to send an email to them, and it's going to give them access to this solicitation so they can log into their own account, pull this solicitation up, review it, and give you the approval or not. They can do this before you release this. They can do this after you release this, okay? So if you share a solicitation with a coworker, a supervisor, they're going to have all the access, the same access that you have, as though they created this auction themselves. So if you're out of the office, on vacation, you got sick, you need someone to monitor your solicitations, you can share it with someone, and they can take full control of the solicitation for you. So on this page, we'll click on and we'll choose our end date and our end time. All times in the platform are Central Standard Time, so be mindful of that when you're building your solicitations. And we can choose a vendor question and answer end date. This is not mandatory, you don't have to do this, but if you want to cut off questions before your solicitation closes, if you want to cut off questions 2 or 3 days before your solicitation closes, you can do so by simply selecting the question, vendor question and answer end date time. And then the next thing we can select here is notify me of less than 3 bidders. You can have the system notify you in as little as 4 hours or as many as 96 hours before your solicitation closes if there's 0 bids on any one of your line items. Now, the question I usually get is, well, why isn't it right up to the hour? It's not right up to the hour because there's no guarantee that you're going to see the email from our platform telling you you don't have competition. There's no guarantee that you're going to see it and be able to take action on it before it actually closes. Okay? So that's why we have it 4 hours as the minimum. And then we click on finalize. Actually, before we finalize it, we have the ability, we can download the vendor list. So we can get a list of all of our vendors. It has their name. If it's a scheduled contract vehicle, it has their contract schedule number. It has their point of contact information, who you can reach out to, what their phone number is, what their email address is. You can download that, you can print that out, and retain that for file documentation and retention purposes. And so we'll review our auction here, and if everything's good, we'll just simply finalize, and it releases our solicitation for us. And so with that, we have, here's some training information. We do training every other week on Thursdays for buyers in the morning. It's a web-based training that we do. So feel free to log in and do that and participate in that. We also have a DAU course. It's FAC 052. You can go to DAU, and if that's 2 CLPs, you can log in and take that course. So if you need to get some CLPs, there's 2 for you right there, and it's real easy. And then, of course, you can contact us, the help desk. I do the help desk, the level 2 tier help desk. If you have a problem that doesn't need a subject matter expert, we have some help desk people that will try to help you and resolve those questions. But if you're having major problems with your solicitations that require not only a subject matter expert but some contract knowledge, then you're going to get me. And I'll help you as best I can to walk you through the issues that you're experiencing. Here's some resource links for you. It has the GSA Reverse Auction platform on here, as well as eBuy, eLibrary, the acquisition gateway, which they'll be presenting here today as well, and GSA Advantage and IT Schedule 70. And then points of contact information. We do have specific POCs for certain agencies, and so I'm the POC right now for the Department of Homeland Security and Navy, but I back up mostly everybody. Nicole Harris, when she comes back, she's on a detail right now for us, but she is the primary POC for Army and the Department of Justice. Until she returns, Mike Holcomb will be the POC And so I apologize for not having his information in here for you. And then, of course, Matthew Wright has the CDC, VA, Air Force, Treasury. And if there's any other agency that's not listed here, and I know there are several, we just basically take turns reaching out. And if someone has a good working relationship, we'll make them the primary on that, so that you have one person that you're working with on a consistent basis.